What's up, guys? This is the ugliest layout ever for our video, but I want to talk about turning life into an engine game, which is kind of been the whole purpose of this video series in the first place. An engine game is uh, like a car, like it's like a card game or a board game where every single turn that you have in the game, you try to improve the efficiency of your system. It's a system building game. Recently, my friend introduced me to the game called Terraforming Mars, which is a beautiful game. It's a board game where you compete with other players to see who can do the most productive things to terraform Mars, like creating shelter, increasing the heat, creating oceans and forests and animals and stuff like that. You want to live on Mars, so whichever player, you know, does the most beneficial things within a given time period, you win. Um, and so that's an engine game. I know there's a lot of other card games that work like engines, but life is also an engine game, is what I'm discovering. And I was able to organize my life into 17. I know it's a lot, but life is very complicated, and I think 17 is a decent breakdown for the stuff that's at least currently available to me. And these are ordered from my Excel sheet in order of importance. And as far as importance goes, there are three criteria I use. Oh no, four criteria I use for importance, and they all, if you factor them all in, which I'm calculating in Excel, it puts them in this order. So the four criteria for importance for me are risk, reward, urgency, and interest. So risk reward is a very basic thing to look at when you're making decisions. You want to look at how much something costs, how much time and energy something costs, the chances of success. Reward is like how much if you are successful in completing whatever task it is, how much reward are you getting out of it? Especially per unit time is what you want to think about. Urgency is like timely manner. A goal you could have immediate needs to reach a goal. It's pretty self-explanatory. And interest is just like if something is fun to me, if I want to do something, I will give something higher priority. And I think it is good to take interest into account because if you what I learned is that if you find something fun, it actually requires less energy, and you're able to do it more efficiently. Like video games, for example, I could play for hours and hours on end without getting tired. Whereas if it's something new or something that's very physically taxing, like cooking a new dish or something, I could get very stressed, and stress causes more energy to be consumed. It's typically when you're very used to something, when you're good at something, and when you enjoy something, that it uses the least energy. So something being fun is actually more energy efficient, is what I found. Um, I just want to talk about each one and how they synergize with each other. So the most important for me is increasing sales, in particular of my artwork. Um, and I have an online shop, but also I do sales in person at anime conventions. What I found is that at the anime conventions and comic cons and live events, I can really, really sell a lot of work in a short amount of time. Something like several $100s a day of just anime prints, and also doing commissions live. So that counts as a sale, really. Of course, commission is different, but I would prefer that the engine, because you can't really like both I found are important, and I made several videos about this in the past, that if you do commissions really well, and demand gets high, you can increase the price of your commission work, and that's an engine in itself. But when it comes to sales, these are products that are already made, ready to be produced, manufactured, distributed. Um, that's a little bit less work, and it can still result in a more rewarding, like pretty much more money. Uh, and so I want to prioritize commissions and product sales, but I'm kind of balancing them out. But they both fall under the sales category. And as far as like pushing my career forward, and the money engine in my life, the financial engine, additively increasing sales is going to do way more for me than any kind of investing right now, especially because um, my me and my family collectively still have debt to pay off, which is normal of many families. Um, so yeah, I'm not going to say what kind of debt, but it's normal of many families to have different debts to pay off, and it's all about getting those out of the way. And right now, my main concern is getting those out of the way before really increasing sales via investing. I'm not really too concerned with resource allocation. I'm more concerned with time and energy allocation of what am I going to do with my time in order to increase sales and the financial engine. So the next one would be channels, which is like my YouTube and Twitch. And I know in the past I was doing really well, but it's very hard. For some reason, I don't know why it's hard for me, because I clearly have a YouTube channel and I'm clearly good at like talking to people on Twitch. At least on Twitch. YouTube, not so great, because I don't like editing and my videos are not like super entertaining. Um, but I still think both, I can afford to improve on both. Look at my layout right now; it's super ugly. Um, I don't really care too much about the aesthetic of my YouTube and Twitch channel, which is funny because I'm an artist. And maybe if I did care more about the presentation, it would be really good. I don't know, but I think within each category, I can like look at like the constituent parts of each because each is a piece of an engine. Like the entire engine is my life and I've broken that down into 17 parts, but each of those parts has smaller parts. So, for example, my Twitch channel, different things about it could be the chatbot, it could be the layout, um, the animations, something like that. My YouTube channel could be just simply the quality of the videos, understanding what makes the quality of the video good, and so even that can be broken down like music, editing, stuff like that. All that stuff is not super interesting to me, which is why I don't really put a lot of effort into it. But if it could result, that's why I always want to assess risk and reward, because there could be many things that are not interesting to me that don't sound fun, but it just could be very rewarding. Um, and so I always have to take all of it into account. And so my primary talent right now is drawing. I didn't have gaming in this, but I guess so I have like two interests mainly in my life that as far as like things that I like to do. First one would be like gaming, which is like one of my great passions. I love doing it. I don't really make a lot of videos about gaming. I feel like I should. Um, and I play a lot of different games, and I love game theory, stuff like that. Um, but primarily, my YouTube channel has grown from art content, specifically art tutorial content. Um, so create animation content specifically is what caused my channel to grow, and I always feel like I don't want to be pigeonholed into that. And every time I make one, it just gets a lot of views, and I know that's what's gonna grow my channel. So maybe instead of like completely branching off and exploring, I could like lightly take the videos that were previously working and then just just kind of explore around the topic. So like maybe directly tutorials for animation, teaching animation. I am an art teacher by trade at work at my part time job, so I could I can naturally do a lot of art education content, and that seems to be the thing for me, art education. As far as growing a channel goes, a lot of people will watch that more likely than a time lapse, but then sometimes a time lapse could be educational in itself. So maybe like a time lapse with explaining would be a good idea. I'm just coming up with ideas right now. So yeah, sales and channels translate directly, or they relate directly to drawing. So I broke that down into speed, accuracy, anatomy, visual library. Of course, there's also creativity, imagination. I didn't list it all down. Storytelling. There's like a lot of stuff that goes into that. Uh, but typically, I mean, I'm going to be telling stories via drawing, and there's a lot of different parts of drawing that I can get better at. And it's like if I take even one of them and increase it, like for example, drawing speed is why I listed first. Imagine it takes me an hour to do a drawing, and then I'm able to do that same drawing. If I increase my skills, I'm able to do that same drawing in 45 minutes. That's like a 25% increase in efficiency. That's like huge. So even like taking an hour drawing and being able to do it in 59 minutes, that's already a more than 1% increase in efficiency. And that saves time and energy to do other things. So like little things like that are what I'm going to focus on for the rest of this video series. I put gardening as a thing. It's for some reason it's higher than health. But let's talk about gardening first. Let's do it in order. One of the reasons I put gardening um, higher, and gardening ended up calculating to be higher, is because it directly translates to like nutrition and food. It's like an engine in itself. Like you spend time and energy taking care of a garden, which I don't have right now. I used to have a garden, but right now my garden's dead and nothing's growing. But if you put time and energy into garden, over time it pays you back with more food, and the food gives you energy and nutrition. Very, very healthy to eat homegrown food. and it like it like creates a cycle with health. It's it's the metabolic cycle. We eat food, and we use energy, and then we can use our energy to make more food. So this goes beyond like anything financial. It's like it's just direct interaction with the earth. Soil, nitrogen, like basic elements. You're interacting with basic elements really. And so one of the reasons it's lower, even though it's such a basic like cycle, um, typically in today's world, money, like working for money, is going to give you more reward per unit time than having a garden. And if you really want to have a profitable garden, you have to like be a farmer and have like a lot of land, which is really expensive too. So with gardening, it's more of a maintenance system rather than a super profitable growth system. Um, yeah, I do find it somewhat fun, but sometimes I get sweaty and I don't really like being dirty and wet and stuff like that. But it's a interaction with the elements, so I kind of like that. So health is a maintenance system, and some of these, as I go down the list, are going to be categorized as maintenance systems. Um, so health is like your body, using your body, exercising, stuff like that. I have been like fluctuating in my weight a lot ever since I got my gallbladder surgery a couple of years ago. uh, I was like right after I got my surgery, I lost a lot of weight, and then as I gained it back over time, my gallbladder, my gallbladder's gone, but my liver sort of took over for where the gallbladder like creates bile. So I feel like my liver health might be really bad considering I've still gained weight since that time. So I'm looking to lose like 10, 15 pounds, and I'm thinking that the energy I use to garden, or the energy I use to like even draw, um, or play games, like I just want to make sure that I'm using the right amount of energy each day. So that I think that will really comes in, that's where extra exercise come into play. One of the reasons gyms are popular now in modern times is because most of our jobs are not physically taxing. Most of them are office jobs, or just chilling out doing something. Unless you work at a gym or in the military, or something, or in a warehouse maybe. Um, where a job is physically taxing, I actually think it's better in a way to have productive work that's physically taxing, but obviously we don't want to be wage laborers, and we just want to find a way to move our body that's fun, productive, and enjoyable. Well, fun and enjoyable. Um, so and health also includes nutrition. Now, down at the bottom, I have cooking, um, but I think that more comes down to like getting the right groceries and cooking. Cooking, like eating the right things, and I want to be able to cook the right things. But it's not super high priority. I know as long as I get the right ingredients, I'm going to end up cooking healthy food. So health is like cooking is like feeds into health, but as far as like getting better at cooking, it's kind of low priority. We can think about it though. So commission is part of sales. I feel like maybe I should consolidate those, but again, sales, I guess, mentally, I separated them because they're kind of different. Like commission is a done for you one time thing. Sales is like have a bunch of products that can be reproduced and just keep selling them. Uh, Now the in-person marketplace is like one of the reasons it was so high on the list, even though it doesn't really exist in my life right now besides anime cons, is because through the anime cons I discovered that they are very, very rewarding. Like it's not just I mean it's fun. I get to meet a lot of people. I get to draw for people. I mean, I make good connections and relationships. And I sell a lot of work, and it's just really, really fun to do that kind of event. And as far as like creating the in-person marketplace engine, I don't want to be one of those artists that just only does cons all the time. I feel like they live very tiring lives. I met a few people who just travel like every weekend to a con, and they have to worry about like breaking even on their table, and like sometimes the con staff is like really hit or miss. So I'm gonna stay close to home and just really explore locally before I do anything like traveling. Um, but that's like one way to do in-person marketplace. But if there are other like types of events like tabling or pop-up events, I want to find those and see what those are like. And especially if I can do it in a 1 day event instead of like a 3 day event, that would be really cool too. In person is just so good for building relationships with people, and really getting people to look at your thing in person. Like there's a lot of like psychology about having being in the proximity of something and being able to see see some work and see the products and talk to someone directly. And that's why, in person is never going to go away as long as we have, even though we have like Amazon and Redbubble and um, you know, people delivering things to your door, even like Uber Eats and stuff like that. I think obviously in person is never going to go away, mostly because of the social aspect, and the fact that you can touch things and be near things. It's just in human nature, I think. Um, the next one is home maintenance. So maintenance, like I'm gonna move into a new place soon, new house, and it's very important for me to understand the systems. Like I did not grow up an engineer. My father did, my father-in-law did. Like they're both like they both grew up to know. I don't know if like they grew up really interested in things like that, like machines and tools and stuff like that. But I know that as fathers, they had to learn more within fatherhood. And since I'm going to be a father and getting a new place soon, it's just something I really, really need to know. Electrical, water, heating, um, like pest control, like all that stuff. I need to learn really fast. So I'm going to be spending time and energy learning about these things that don't necessarily make any money or like it's just a time cost, but it's a very essential time cost. It's a cost of living thing for sure, and I have to remember that cost of living is not just money. Cost of living is also basic survival. Okay, so next one is website. I do have a website, choknater.com. There's not much on there yet. I've only worked like a couple days on it just to make a basic structure. But I do want a lot of my stuff to be consolidated, a lot of information to be consolidated in one place. Right now, there's three main sections. There's the commission form. Like if people want to commission me, they can go through my website. I have gotten a couple commissions, which I still need to do through my website. So I feel like that's working out pretty well. Also, there is I want to put my channel's content on there, like my YouTube channel, and also the other one is like I forgot there's three sections. Oh yeah, there's commissions, there's a shop for my products, and then the last one is like getting good, which is like the theme of my channel, which is like just improving things, and it's gonna lead to my Discord, this video series in particular, um, and any resources about improvement and improvement and efficiency. There's a beautiful website called efficiencyIsEverything.com where they talk about a lot of stuff that just save time, like even down to like tying your shoes and cooking and sleeping better and stuff like that. Um, and I might even link to like Huberman Lab podcast and stuff like that. That's all about self improvement. I'm not really a part of like the what did Tyler Durden say in Fight Club? Self improvement is masturbation. Like I understand that there's a vanity in self improvement, and I want to make sure that I'm humble and I'm not doing any of this for um, self praise or like feel good about myself. That I want to make sure that I'm doing this because not only because it's good for me, but because it's good for my family and the people around me. So yeah. So yeah, website is where I want to consolidate all that information. Um, and so I feel like when someone visits my website, they really feel who I am. So yeah, learning. I think this kind of goes hand in hand with discovery, which is at the bottom. But maybe they're a bit separate. So learning is like my last video was kind of about um, what you do to solve problems. Like you observe, and then you observe things, you observe the world around you. You take notes of things, you take a mental note, and then after you've kind of understood all those mental notes and sort of piece them together, you can create action plans based on your new view of the world. And that's kind of how the mind works. That's kind of how scientific method works. And so learning, I wrote content choices. This is like the stuff that I choose to take time to learn. There is risk even in self-education, like the stuff that like the what you choose to consume, like if it's a book or a video, even if it's educational, there's a risk of it being bad, like or not very high quality. So even the choice of what you choose to learn, there's risk. There's already risk reward to be taken into consideration there. But yeah, absorption speed, notes, consolidation into rules, and action. Uh, it's all the process I described in the previous video. Next is marketing and social media. I'm really terrible at marketing, and I um, I really don't want to downplay the importance of it. I know marketing is not everything. I know having a good product is um, is the ultimate importance in business. But if you don't have any marketing, is you're not going to sell anything. So um, that's where I kind of do need to improve my presentation and my reach. And I'm going to study a bit of marketing, like really, really take basic marketing stuff, just understand like I know there's cues and um, there's like, I don't know, there's so many terms that I just don't even know how to explain it. And I want to learn. So there's that. Um, so management. This is like when it comes to work. I'm currently the manager at my part-time job. Um, and even that is like already quite challenging, but I do want to own a business in the future, and management skills is like something I want to really have down. So team synergy, relationships and strengths, hiring, firing, stuff like that. Um, just dealing with people, and that's kind of a maintenance thing also, but it's both maintenance and growth. Like I think in any of these systems you can get a maintenance aspect and then you can get a growth aspect. But as far as like something like some of them have stronger lean towards maintenance, and some of them have stronger lean towards growth. Like health, for example, my body is not going to get any bigger. In fact, my body's just going to get older. So for health, maintenance is going to be the key. But you can grow in the sense that I could put my body in like peak physical condition, peak mental condition, so that I can perform at the highest level all the time. So that's growth. But then at once you hit like a peak, you it's just maintenance from there. So that's very hard. Um, so as far as management, like a lot of it is just maintenance, like getting building a system that's like kind of good, and then making sure that people like have strong morale. Like recently at work, I've been having trouble dealing with morale and like budget issues and stuff like that. So just getting everything to like a nice equilibrium, baseline level, is already a challenge for me in management. But naturally, a business can grow via hiring. So that's something I want to learn in the future. Next one is car maintenance. Obviously, really important. I drive my car to work, and I drive it. I'm going to be driving it around, and it's just not something I grew up with. Like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory. Next one is my portfolio, and normally this would be higher on the list because it is a very, very natural, you know, addition, multiplication, logarithms, exponents. It's a very simple engine because managing your financial portfolio is just pure math. Um, but like I said, I understand already that getting rid of debt comes first, so I don't really want to worry about an investment portfolio in particular until like I can uh, overcome the hurdles. I know that financial advisors and experts talk about an order of operations, like you want to put your money here first, and then here first, and then here first. But typically, it's like high interest debt that you want to get rid of first. So next one is systems. So I spend a lot of time on this. I probably should not be spending a lot of time on this because my system is already really, really good, and that's my Excel sheet. Um, and I just use my Excel sheet to like keep track of all the calculations that are happening in my life. It's kind of where I put all this together. So it is important, but I feel like my system is so good, but the actual execution of ideas is not very strong yet. So I really need to focus less on this, um, and more on actually working on the more productive engines. Next is cooking. Very, very self-explanatory. Relates to health. Relates to gardening. Um, and I think becoming a better cook is like nice, but right now the two main things is like one, the cooking has to be healthy, and two, the cooking has to be time efficient. Like I don't want to make like fancy gourmet meals. I just want it to be fast, edible, and like very nutritious. So far, I've been enjoying Filipino cooking, which is like large pots of soup, which is really easy, but it still takes a really long time. And I'm wondering to myself, like, what is the most time efficient thing I can prepare? Maybe I can look at some videos or learn something about that, but it's not super high priority. Now, the very last one, and understandably the last one, is discovery or lateral growth. Like things that I could be doing that I don't even know that I should be doing. Maybe this is more important than I make it, but it's like, what if there's a skill that I could have and that I could, like, in a realistic amount of time, gain, and I'm just missing out, like the opportunity cost. And I think personally, I need to develop a system that helps me understand and discover where those opportunities are because I really don't know. I focus so much on optimization of like stuff that I'm already doing that I kind of get lost and obsessed with that one thing, and I really focus on one thing. Which, as I'm growing up, I've learned that I've kind of pigeonhole myself. And I mentioned a lot about not wanting to be pigeonholed, but I pigeonhole myself into the things that I already do. So it's like some of these categories are already kind of unfamiliar things like home maintenance, car maintenance, cooking, gardening, exercise, things like that. I don't really do those very much, but there's probably a lot more that I could be doing. And there's like the whole debate in like entrepreneurship, like, do you want to be a specialist or a generalist? And both are good in specific scenarios. Like if you're working for a solid business already, there's no economic turmoil or anything, I think specialists are really going to thrive because it's like in the systems that already work, you can execute things better than others, so you're going to be invaluable at a job. But if there's a time and place with more turmoil, and you kind of know how to do anything, and you can like sort of look at a system and look at any problem and fix it, and have the tools and knowledge to fix it, like being a generalist is going to be really strong. And I think something like jack of all trades, master of none has a bad connotation, but I also think like if you have if you really are a jack of all trades, like you can just look at any system, any part of the system, and fix it. So I think I want to have both, obviously, and I want to maximize both. I don't really have a particular system set in place for discovery yet, but that's something I also want to learn, and that's why I have it as a category, because I know even just discovering things has to improve. Um, like what if, this is really a random example. What if I can just really get insane at table tennis, and I just get good at it because my body is built for that. There's no way I could have known unless I played table tennis. So I think like it's really important to add some novelty to life and try things. Obviously, I don't think it's very likely for me to just become a pro table tennis player just because I thought of the idea, but just thinking of new ideas and trying it out is going to be really important. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. I'm gonna keep making videos, hopefully be better quality, better looking than this. But let's think about today. Today, February 27th. I want to think about like which one of these can I really improve. I recently got hit by a Trojan. I might make another video about that. Computer maintenance is like a computer security is like a big thing. Maybe that's something I need to learn more about. Um, but So that's what I need to work on today. But as far as any of these, like which one can I really look at and just improve now? Um, so the first thing that intuitively comes to mind is drawing speed. And I've talked about this before where I want to create a flow in drawing that is so focused that it burns calories. I mentioned this in the last video, I think, and I think that's probably something I'm going to try improving on. So I'm going to take any of the projects I'm working on, whether it's a commission or a piece to sale. I'm going to just focus on finishing it faster. Um, at the same so without sacrificing quality. So it's not just speed. Like I want to maintain the same level of quality that I've been putting out, um, and increasing the efficiency of it. So I could work on like increasing the quality later, but I think the quality of work that I do now is like good enough to sell already. Um, so if I can just pump out more, I think it would be good for me. It's just a nice, simple additive process. Um, or is it multiplicative because I'm increasing it by a percent and becoming more time efficient? I don't know, but I think that would be the first thing, drawing speed, and maybe later next video, I'm either gonna make a video about the Trojan that I got or just increasing my drawing speed. That's all, guys. Sorry for it's really long-winded, but I think this video is really important for me personally, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening to that. If you stayed for the whole thing, thank you. I love you. God bless you all. Bye bye.